Well, we are live right now. My name is Tali, and my podcast is Tali PHD. PhD stands for the path that I'm currently on with my education, and that I am currently working on a holistic doctorate in functional blood chemistry and functional nutrition. But also, I'm following the carnivore lifestyle, which also is known by those who are in the carnivore world as the proper human diet. I've got an interesting and intriguing story or journey that I have personally been on. I'm a former pharmaceutical sales representative. I used to work for one of the largest pharmaceutical companies. And ironically, I sold a
sorry, go ahead.
And of course, I eat tons of cholesterol now. I digress.
Me too.
I am also a breast implant illness survivor, and my guest today also is a breast implant illness survivor. And we'll be talking more about breast implant illness in a moment. But because of what I endured with breast implant illness, this has set me on a journey in natural health. And I have come from the world of being vegan all the way to being organic omnivore. And now I'm finally settling into carnivore, the proper human diet. And that's where I am noticing a lot of healing that has happened. I do want to have a disclaimer said right now that I am not a medical doctor, and the information that I share, we're not. Information that we are going to be sharing tonight is purely for educational purposes. We don't mean to treat or diagnose any type of illness, but take the information that we share today and do your own research. That's what really we want to provoke here, is for people to do their own research. Tonight, I have a very special guest with me. It's Tracy Gary. She's a breast implant illness survivor. She's also a carnivore. So welcome, Tracy, to the show. If you could please just introduce yourself to everybody.
I was a broadcaster, radio and television broadcaster, and foolishly got breast implants because I'll just admit, which I do every podcast, total insecurity. All on me. My husband tried to stop me from getting them. And I was always, flat as a board, carpenter's dream, all the childhood taunting, and it gets in your psyche. And if you're not strong enough to let it bounce off, then you're like me and you go get breast implants. And then you think, I'm all woman now. And plus I was like, I have a runner's body. So when you put the boobs on, then you went from that to Baywatch, and very easily in a couple hour surgery. And, I started forgetting things like at work, like I was flying in the news chopper, and like they asked, what are you going to cover in the next, and 30 seconds later, I'm doing something totally opposite of what I told him I was going to cover.
So how long did it take before you got the implants? Things are fine.
No, how long did it take? Things were never fine. No.
Really? So it was right away?
Yeah, my friend got them at the same time. She got them maybe a week or two before me, or a month. And I was in agony. I'm just like, oh my gosh, they hurt so bad. And she's like, they don't hurt. Mine didn't hurt. And I'm like, oh, the pain, the agony. I can't even, it was awful right out of the gate. So you kind of accept that and get used to that. Started getting chronic fatigue. Couldn't work out. I loved working out. I couldn't work out. I had muscle fatigue, just chronically tired. That's when I started not being able to sleep. And I had insomnia as a child. And then when I moved out of our house, I was sleeping like a rock. So I don't know if we had mold in our house or what, but I just know when I left home, I started sleeping really deeply. But at home, growing up for 18 years, I had terrible insomnia as a child. And then the insomnia came back, like I could not sleep. So I didn't sleep for 20 years with those breast implants, and it was awful.
And you had the breast implants for 20 years?
Yeah. And
were they, all right. So here's a question. What type of implants did you have?
I, for the first 12 years, had those lovely cancer-causing textured.
Ah, yeah. So the textured ones have already been associated with a certain type of cancer of the blood.
BIAALCL. Yep.
Yep.
BIAALCL, which is a cancer of your immune system that only people with breast implants are at risk of getting.
And
So,
it's not so rare because there are groups and
right.
I do see people that do have this type of cancer and it is associated with the textured implants. I'm
Yes.
even thinking it's probably associated with
It
the
is
other
now.
one with the smooth
It
as
is with the
well.
smooth now. It's associated with both now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so then I had a rupture in 2010 and I had them removed. I didn't know that they were toxic. You know, I didn't know about breast implant illness at the time. And I asked the doctor, could you make them smaller? And he's like, no, I can't. And I'm like, well, why? Because they're too big for my little body as it is. I'm only 5'4", and they're, and could you make them smaller? And he said, no. And I said, well, then can we take them out and just do like a breast lift? No, you're not going to be happy all scarred up with all the scars. Like he totally puts fear into me about a breast lift, which I have now and I absolutely love. And so I woke up and they were even bigger. And I was on television at the time and I couldn't get any of my blouses to close.
Yeah.
All my suit jackets and stuff that I had to wear on television were,
the buttons are popping.
I couldn't, and then then you're on a mission. I was only like 135 pounds and I couldn't get the jackets to close. And now you're trying to lose even more weight. Yes. And oh my gosh, because then the television had 10 pounds more. Oh yeah. And then one time they said, quit wearing suit jackets, just wear a sweater. And I'm thinking, my God, these things are double D's. And so I put the sweater on and my nipples were like, boom, because it's like 40 degrees in a television studio, right? So
so how are your ratings at that point?
I'm standing there talking and the headlights are on. And so I'm doing this on camera. I'm slowly dropping down to try to hide them. And the camera guy kept following me. And I'm like, don't stop it. Stop following me. But they just looked like, ba-boom, ba-boom. I was so embarrassed. And, but my memory got so bad, they nicknamed me Dory on the morning show because I could, where are we going? What are we doing? What's your name again? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing again? What are we doing? And so they're like, oh my gosh. And so my nickname was Dory.
What are other symptoms aside from the memory loss? What other symptoms? You said pain in your breasts and then you had the memory. So what other things were going on in insomnia?
I had the most excruciating lower back pain in my L4 area. I went to a back surgeon. He x-rayed, he couldn't find anything, sent me for an MRI. They couldn't find anything. Nothing's wrong with you. So then he's like, this is all in your head. You need to talk to a therapist. And I'm sitting there going, no, I'm serious. Like, it's like my back is broken. Please, something has to be done. It's like it's broken. No. So he, in his recorder right in front of me, is telling me I'm with Tracy and she's obese. And because I had ballooned up to 198 pounds of inflammation from the reaction to the breast implants, I was 120 pounds when I put them in. And
you went from 120 to 190 pounds?
98 pounds. I have pictures. I was like, and so I was working out an hour a day. And then I added another hour a day on at night. And I kept gaining weight. Well, here I was doing Weight Watchers. Back then, the point system. So you can eat whatever you want as long as you stay within the points. Well, I was eating like a piece of pizza. Well, here I had Hashimoto's and I didn't know it. And nobody with Hashimoto should ever touch gluten. And so I'm eating pizza. So I'm reacting now to the Hashimoto's with the gluten and the implants, and I'm reacting to the implants. So I poured fuel on the fire and ballooned up even more. So my peak was 198 and I was in a doctor's office crying, saying, I'm working out 2 hours a day and I'm barely eating and blah, blah, blah. And she says, it's your thyroid. And I said, no, they keep testing my thyroid and my thyroid is fine. She said, no, it's your thyroid, I guarantee you. So then she checked my autoimmune numbers.
TPO antibodies.
And she calls me and she says, you have Hashimoto's. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And so she pulled me off of gluten, sugar, dairy, soy. And I was losing a pound of weight a day. It was coming off at a pound a day when she pulled.
A rare doctor that
She
most doctors won't test for Hashimoto's. They'll just do the standard TSH and then they'll tell you your thyroid's fine. And then it's unbelievable that everyone who has, it seems like anyone who has breast implants, we all eventually develop Hashimoto's.
Yes.
It seems like all of us have
some autoimmune issue.
Right.
A lot of Hashimoto's.
Yes. Yep. So I know I have it. You have it.
Hashimoto's in the world right now because of all our garbage food that they're forcing down our throats. Like, yes, people don't realize how toxic our food is.
Right. And the fluoride in the water. Don't forget that.
Oh my gosh. I know. Oh, don't get me started on all that too. But so yeah, lower back pain, migraines, insomnia, elbow pain that has been gone since the day of my surgery. Elbow pain so bad I couldn't even lift like my cell phone sometimes. It was like, oh my gosh, it hurts so bad. And that has not come back since the day of my surgery. Migraines, daily headaches, migraines several times a month. I had migraine medication. Then I started getting depression. And then the depression the last 3 years was so intense, which now I know. I was soaking, we have a soaking tub back in Michigan, and I was soaking in it almost every night because I would get so chilled to the bone from the breast implants. The reaction was just, I was sweating, I was chilled. And so I would get chilled so bad, I would just soak in a hot tub for hours and hours, because if I got out, then you're like, bleh. And then we had a steam shower. Well, the worst thing you can do is take breast implants and put them in a hot bath or a hot sauna.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. That is exactly what I was just going to say, that they tell you that they're safe in 98.6 degrees, which they are not.
They dissolve.
Now you're heating up your body even more, and all those toxins that are in your breast implants are further leaching into your bloodstream.
Yes.
So when you kept going to the doctor, you said that you were on migraine medication, so you were getting those from someone. I'm guessing that you kept going to doctors seeking help from all these symptoms that you were having, right? So
he had me at one point on antidepressants. Then the memory problems were so bad, they tested me and said, it's got to be ADD. So then they put me on Concerta or Ritalin. They tried, and I couldn't eat. I was like, and I said, I can't do it. I started talking crazy. And so then they switched me to Concerta, and I did better on that. But I was like, at work, if they saw me coming down the hall, they'd probably turn and go the other way because Chatty Cathy was coming. And but the Concerta helped make me feel better, but then I really couldn't sleep. Then the migraines, I had migraine medication, and then the depression got so bad it turned suicidal the last 3 years. And I was texting my husband, I wish I could go, I wish I had the guts to walk in our lake and just drown. Every night when I'd go to bed, I'd say, I just don't know why God doesn't take me tonight while I'm sleeping. Please, God, just take me in my sleep. I don't know what's wrong with me. Some days I couldn't even get out of bed. He had to pull me out of bed screaming in pain because my lower back, I couldn't roll over in the middle of the night with my back. It felt like my back was absolutely broken in two, and you couldn't even roll over. You couldn't move. The pain was so excruciating. That pain that was all in my head. And
right. They've actually done studies on women with breast implants, and they have women with breast implants have a higher statistic amount of suicide rate. Like the suicide rate is much higher. It's either 7 times or 9 times. I have to look it up, but there is definitely something going on, and they've looked at autopsy reports of women who've died, who've had breast implants, and there are toxins that are found in the brain. There are heavy metals that are found in the brain, like platinum.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely something that is going on, and is not. It wasn't all in our head. And that's what we got from the doctors every time that we go in, and we have, what could it possibly be? And then when you get your blood work done, the blood work isn't necessarily showing anything, is it?
Right. No.
It might show the thyroid that popped up and that popped up for me, but it's not showing anything that says, oh, we've tested you and now we know that the root cause of all your problems is your breast implants.
Right.
Did
No.
any doctor ever say to you, the
Zero.
reason you're sick is because of your breast implants?
No. They all knew I had them and nobody ever said anything. And then when I started, when I was informed that it could be your breast implants, I did ask 2 doctors and they're like, no, no. And so I did listen to all the women on that Facebook page that I was on that only had 24,000 people on it when I joined. And now it's almost 200,000.
Yeah. When I joined, there were like 3,500. So now there's like
almost 200,000.
Yeah.
But we're a small percent.
Right. It's rare.
So the depression was so bad, like so very bad. It's the worst time of my life. Like I feel so bad with people with depression. And soon as they removed the implants, guess what went away? The back pain, the elbow pain, the headaches, the migraines. I don't even get headaches anymore. Headaches, migraines, lower back pain, elbow pain, depression's all gone, anxiety's all gone, everything, every single symptom I had that was unexplainable vanished like magic.
What was the turning point where you're like, oh my gosh, it's from my breast implants?
I had no idea. And I was so very desperate because my son was getting married in a couple of years or in a year. And some days I couldn't even walk. Like my husband would pull me out of bed, and I'm not kidding. I would walk like this, and I'd hobble into the kitchen and get my water in the morning, go, into the kitchen. And then I try to make him his breakfast and his lunch. And by the time he got out of the shower and came in, I was upright and walking around. He's like, oh, so how's your back? And I'm like, it just totally goes away as quick as it comes on. It would strike out of the blue and then it would go away out of the blue, just magically go away. So I couldn't even take, and I don't like taking like Tylenol and stuff anyway. So, because it would just go away all of a sudden, which it was all inflammation. So I'm guessing like soon as my body started functioning and I start peeing out some inflammation, things are, getting off of the nerves or something like that. All the inflammation in my brain, which was causing all the suicidal depression and the brain fog. I think that was all inflammation connected too. I think everything was linked to inflammation from the reaction to the breast implants. But I was so desperate, and he was outside working and he had stuck patio furniture for sale out by the street. And I was in the house just in tears, and he doesn't know I'm in there, and I'm because I was a basket case all the time. And so I got down on our bedroom floor on my knees, begging God for help. Please, God, please help me. Please. I am begging. I don't know what to do. I don't know why you're not like taking me, get me off this earth. And if you can, I know I can't ask you to fix me, but can you give me clues so I can put the pieces to the puzzle together? And if I do, if it's something I can help other people, I will, I promise you. And all of a sudden somebody pulls in our driveway an hour later to look at the patio furniture, and I have to go out there, and now I don't feel well. And so I go out there and put on my happy face, and her name is Annette and her husband, Randy. And we just start chatting, and she says, well, give me your phone number. And so 2 days later, she's invited me on her boat because we live on a lake. And I go out on her boat. I didn't want to go because I didn't feel well. And my mother said, go, you need to socialize. You are like the social butterfly, and this is not like you to not socialize, and you need to go. And so I forced myself to go on this boat. Well, she picks up like 10 other women, and they start asking her, Annette, how's this? Annette, how's your headaches? Annette, how is your this? Annette, how's that? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, this is strange. So I said, did you have any clue what this could be? Because I have all your symptoms.
Wow.
And she says, do you have breast implants? And I just sat there. Now the whole boat full of women that I just met, and I'm like, yes, for 20 years. She's
unbelievable.
She says, it might be your breast implants. Look up breast implant illness. Well, I'm like, okay, there is no way it is my breast implants, right? So I'm in denial.
Because the doctors also told you it's not your breast implant.
I'm totally, and it's not my beautiful breasts I paid money for, and twice. And so I ignored her, and she's an ER nurse too. She's a registered nurse, and I ignored her.
You ignored that sign?
Yes. And so then she stays, we become really good friends. And she's like, I don't know why you won't even look into it. So one night I said, okay, I will. And I joined that Facebook page she told me about. And all my husband could hear out of the other room was, oh my gosh. And he's like, what? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And so about an hour later, I walk in with the iPad and I said, listen to this. So I read it to him and he goes, oh, did you post that? And I said, no, this is some other woman. Listen to this. And I read him another. Did you post that? No.
Yep. Same symptoms.
Breast implants. And he said, so what, is it as easy as just removing them and you might get better? And I said, there's no guarantee, but I'm willing to try. I don't have any other options. Like, I feel like I'm going to die. I'm going to end up in a wheelchair because I couldn't walk sometimes. It felt like my feet were broken sometimes. And like every time you walked, it felt like all the bones were breaking in my feet. And
the same symptoms. I had the same exact symptoms. And you're right that when you're seeing it scrolling on Facebook in these chat groups of breast implant illness. So if anyone's watching right now and you have breast implants and you're like, wait a second, they're talking about these things and it could possibly be that I have breast implant illness, you need to join these groups. If you even just go onto Facebook and then in the top, just on the search, just put in breast implant illness, you're going to find now there's hundreds of groups. There's not just one group, but there's hundreds and hundreds of groups.
I started one for Michigan people, but you don't have to be from Michigan. But there's
join them.
A lot of the doctors have their own pages too now. These really good surgeons that are really good at MBlock, they all have their own support pages too.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that to remove breast implants is not as easy as just removing them because you can't just go to any surgeon and have this removed. It needs to be a surgeon that actually knows what they're doing, and it is a procedure called NBlock or total
capsulectomy.
Capsulectomy. Woo! I blanked there. I had a Dory moment. But the breast implants have to be removed along with the scar capsule. Otherwise, those toxins and the inflammation is going to continue. And it's a low grade inflammation where your body's just continuously fighting. And that is so bad because that's going to lead to other, autoimmune, cancer, all those things. So it's really important to get them out the proper way. So how did you even select a surgeon? How did you find the right surgeon for you?
Thanks to I call it the big page, where there's almost 200,000 women. I was on there and they were talking about a Dr. Fang in Pepper Pike, Ohio, which is just outside Cleveland, which is where I'm from, just outside of Cleveland. So it's east of Cleveland, right where I'm from, south and east. And so I could have stayed with my dad, but she was really expensive, like almost $17,000.
Yeah, and that's important also to note too, that even though it is a sickness, like you are sick and you feel like you are absolutely almost dying, insurance does not cover. Yeah, it's all in our heads, exactly. But insurance will not cover the removal of these breast implants. So this is another out-of-pocket expense, and it costs a lot more, almost double or even triple the amount of getting these breast implants in. And this is like money that is out of pocket expense on you. So she quoted you at $16,000 for
and that was back in 2017 and late 2017. And but she's the best. She is she's the one who brought NBlock over to the United States, and all these other surgeons are learning from Fang and doing what Fang is doing. So she's worth every penny. I'm not, but so then there was also, I should have gone to Jupiter, Florida to Dr. Rankin.
Yep.
And I had an appointment set with Dr. Rankin. And then people started talking about a doctor in Costa Rica. And I'm like, well, I've never been to Costa Rica. And so I said to my husband, well, we could make a vacation off the front end and then have the surgery and have a vacation and this miserable surgery. And so that's what we decided to do. But I wish I would have gone to Dr. Rankin. It would have just been a lot easier not going through all the TSA and
who's the doctor in Costa Rica?
Dr. Urzola.
Yes, I remember him. Yeah. So I know all these names just from the groups. You know, you start to hear the big names, and Rankin out in Florida is really big. He has a Facebook page and a huge following. So people do have options and choices out there. I did not get en bloc. And so I do need another surgery in order to recover. And that's why I have to live such a strict lifestyle in order to keep my inflammation at check. But I did happen to find a surgeon who literally is a mile away from me, who believes in breast implant illness. I just feel like God really led me to him. He does believe in breast implant illness and does do a complete capsulectomy or en bloc. So even if you haven't, if it wasn't removed properly the first time, you can still go back and have the scar capsule removed. So just want people to know, if you're in kind of a situation like me where you still have that scar capsule that was left in there because the plastic surgeon that you went to for the removal didn't remove all of the scar capsule, it is in your best interest to have the scar capsule completely removed, because that's your best chance of improving and regaining your health.
Because it's like you've poked the hornet's nest if you don't. Yes. You're leaving behind a lot of toxic tissue, inflamed toxic tissue, and that's what they need to get all that out of your whole breast cavity. And some doctors just are like, oh, I'll just slice it open and pull the implant out, and they leave that capsule, and women get even sicker than they were. And they have no idea why. One of them is Angie Everhart, the model. Mm-hmm. I don't know if she was an actress too, but she's very outspoken about it. And they left the capsule behind, and she was sick and didn't know it until our group of women told her and informed mm-hmm. her that and so Dr. Rankin, I believe, is the one in Jupiter that redid her surgery. And she's like, it was night and day.
Right.
And women, and it's very difficult because, like, on my support page, I just had somebody say, well, I can't go to the surgeon because my insurance won't cover it and I can't afford to pay out of pocket. And I'm just like, I really wish you got to be careful because they get upset with you, the women, but you just sit there and pray for them that they're going to be okay. And and then they're back on and they're like, I'm still sick. Why am I still sick? You said I'd get better. I'm like, I never said you'd get better. I said, this is a last ditch effort. That's like, if you cannot be diagnosed with anything else, then you have nothing else to lose except your life and your health if you don't remove them. And if I can't guarantee it's your breast implants. I never, I don't tell you that, but,
actually, when I was working at a functional wellness clinic, and I had a woman in front of me who her labs actually came back horrific, that there were parasites, there was autoimmune, there was all sorts of things that were going on. And I had a conversation with her. It was obvious that she had breast implants. And so, I said to her, it could, a possibility is that it could possibly be coming from, your breast implants. And I'm just saying this because I had breast implant illness. And when we started talking about, what she's like, well, how do I heal with them how do I keep them and still heal? Well, that's not a possibility, is what I told her. Like, the way that you would heal would be you need to remove these breast implants. And she told me that she would rather die than have her breast implants removed. So,
I get it though. I mean, I get it. I can't judge anybody else's insecurity,
They would rather she left the office and knew or she now had that knowledge that it's her breast implants, but she just wasn't there. Now I'm not saying that now, maybe she's in a different place in life and she's like, yeah, it's my breast implants, because we do go into denial. Because even when I was scrolling and reading, back in 2014 or 15, I was really sick, and I'm reading and these women that also had the same symptoms, and there was a moment of denial where I'm like, it can't be, be. And like you said, yeah, I think it does. There's like
just no way.
Right, because we don't want to part with it, or it seems like it has become a body part to us, and now we're told that we have to remove them. So we have some people joining us on Facebook that are commenting. So I just want to say hi to Renee. Thanks for joining us. Renee Fields, another breast implant.
Hi, Renee.
Here. So see her.
I met Renee at the FDA hearings. We all went to the FDA, and we're the ones who got the black box warning put on those breast implants. You're welcome.
Absolutely. And Tracy, I think your husband is here. Your husband says, if his name is Kevin, then your husband is here. And he said, Tracy Gary is amazing.
My husband, he's not on Facebook.
Well, somebody named Kevin Gary.
Oh, Kevin. Oh my God, I got to talk. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Cuzzy. Okay, so Kevin. No. Okay, so Kevin Gary, this is the most hilarious thing. I'm part of his family now, because Gary is not my real last name. It was my first husband's first name, Gary. So I used it on the air because I had too many stalkers. And so I used Tracy Gary on the air. So now Kevin Gary is on Facebook. And so people are asking, like, I'm like, oh, we could be like related or cousins. And he's like, yeah, are you part of my my family tree? And I'm like, no, it's not really my name. And he's black, which is why I laugh so hard, because like his family, he'll call me Cuzzy, and they think I'm like one of their cousins, which is.
I saw the last name was the same, and he's saying you're amazing. So you have a fan.
But my husband's name is Gary. My current husband's name is Kevin. So I told this Kevin, this is hilarious because my husband is actually Kevin, but he's not Kevin Gary. My last name's really not Gary. So yeah, hi Kevin. That's so funny. So
Renee brought up, she says, one look at the list of toxic chemicals in breast implants, that there is zero denial possible. And this is absolutely true, that there are over 40 toxic chemicals in breast implants. They are not inert. They do not just stay in the bags. Actually, the bags, all breast implants on the outside are made of silicone. And these toxic chemicals do leach in the body at 98.6 degrees. And you were even steaming them up in your hot tub sessions. And
Mine were saline for 20 years. I didn't even have
Me too, but that outer casing.
Yep, it's the implant sac.
All silicone. And then, I had the situation of mold growing inside my breast implants. Oh. And that was leaking into my body. So it was the mold and then also the toxic chemical. So it was a long recovery, and then still have the scar capsule that's left inside. So once you had your breast implants removed and you got better, tell us a little bit about how from there you found Carnivore. Because, I know that a lot of time has kind of gone by, but how did you get into the carnivore lifestyle?
So I went from 198 pounds back down to my 120. And then we decided, let's get an RV and move to Florida. So we got in an RV, and we were going to RV down to Florida and just hang around the state and for the winter. Well, I used a mini trampoline every day. I worked out every day. I walked every day. I was very physically active and into working out. And then we got in this RV and we start drinking alcohol. I mean, I'm not saying that we never drank alcohol on the lake. We did, but not every single dinner, lunch. It was every dinner, and then it became every lunch and dinner.
Wow.
And we're eating, like, we used to split a meal if we went to a restaurant, because he's only 145 pounds. He's only like 5'8" and 145 pounds. Mm-hmm. And I'm 120. So we would split a dinner. And sometimes we even had to get a doggy bag because neither of us ate that much. And we're both ordering our own meals. And I'm ignoring my Hashimoto's. Like, so because I had put it basically in remission,
Mhm.
and now I'm eating gluten, I'm eating everything that I'm not supposed to be eating, dairy, eggs, chicken, because I react to eggs and chicken. I had a food sensitivity test done. So, and then we're drinking alcohol, and I start ballooning up, right? And so
Mhm.
it starts gradually, and and then all of a sudden I can't fit in my clothes. I'm not working out. And I said, I don't know how much I've gained, but I can only fit in 2 dresses. And that's because the elastic's right up here and not down on my stomach. And by the time we closed on this house on March 1st, we found the bathroom scale. I had gained 35 pounds. And then we met neighbors down the street, and they're like, you should eat vegan. We eat vegan. And I'm like, I'll do anything to get this weight off. So now I switched to total vegan, right? Sends my body into absolute, I think, shock. And I had such gas coming out of me. I was so miserable. The gas,
Yeah.
I ballooned up. Oh my gosh. And I would lay in bed, and my stomach was like out to here. I go, and it was jiggling like jello. I go, it's like I'm pregnant. It looks like I'm pregnant. It was so big. And I said,
Oh,
I can't do this anymore. This has got to stop. So then I thought, well, I'm just going to go back to salads and put steak on them like I used to do. I was eating like salads with steak, salads with chicken back then before I knew chicken. And that chicken was causing inflammation in me. And so that's what I started doing. And then I started Googling, and I started finding carnivore, and Jordan Peterson. I love Jordan Peterson. And then he starts talking about just eating meat, and then his daughter, and then I'm watching them. So it was Jordan Peterson and his daughter that really is what led me then to all the other carnivore videos. And I'm seeing all these people like with muscles, and these guys and these women, and they're only eating meat. Well, some of them are eating dairy, cheese, eggs, chicken. Like there's all different levels of carnivore, I guess. So I start out that way. Well, my fingers swelled up again, like arthritis, which my dad and brothers have. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, they were aching. And then when I would cut the dairy out, it would stop. So I said, I think I can't do dairy. And then I have this like right here would swell up like a bump right here. And I've seen it on people, and mine had gone away when I lost all my weight. Well, I wasn't eating any dairy because that one doctor had pulled me off of all dairy. And so the free for all in the RV just sent my Hashimoto's right back off the charts. And there's a cat meowing, sent my Hashimoto's off the charts, and I ballooned up. So then from the vegan, I gained another 20 pounds. So I topped out at 176 pounds, 2 months. So that was like in March, April, May. And that's when I was like,
year?
Oh, yes. So I'm like, that's not going to happen again. So I was on a mission to get this weight off. And as soon as I switched to carnivore, again, it comes off at a pound a day. So I lost 30 pounds in 30 days. It was coming off at a pound a day.
Unbelievable.
But then,
but were you hungry? Were you hungry?
No.
Are you hungry on
carnivore?
carnivore?
No. In fact, when I first started, I completely lost my appetite, which was really frightening because I couldn't even think of eating for like a couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks that lasted. And I would force myself to eat, but then I'd go to the support pages for carnivore, and it's like, roll with it, consider it like a fasting cleanse, and it's your body. Yeah. And so I didn't panic, and I rolled with it. And eventually, yes, they were right. My appetite came back, and now I eat like twice a day. I made sure at like 6 o'clock, I ate a ribeye, and then I bought a roast the other day, and I just slice it. And then when I'm hungry, I just grab a cold slice and, eat 1 or 2 slices of the roast during the day, and then just eat like a ribeye every day. And I cook it in beef tallow. But the first week, the arthritis in my fingers totally, like I couldn't even bend my fingers. It was so bad. And if I get close, like you can see, like I'm getting the swollen arthritis.
Yeah, I see.
Which my dad and my brothers have really bad, or at least one of my brothers. And I tell him, Dad, my swelling goes down when I eliminate dairy. You might want to know. My doctor says I'm fine. He's 87. He He doesn't listen to a thing that I say. And so he walks around with his little swollen fingers. And but yeah, things go away. Like that hump back there is almost gone
Which,
now.
you know, that hump is associated with an adrenal issue. So, you know, I believe it's Cushing's syndrome, and you develop kind of that humpback. And I just
Yes.
like to people watch, because when you
Well, what
when
is
you
Cushing?
see, it's just like a cortisol issue. So it's a problem with your adrenal glands. So it's just interesting, because I'm wondering if like if the dairy is doing something to your adrenals just because of the inflammation. But the fact that, you know, you're removing this and you're not having, you know, now you don't have joint pain, you don't have all this
Right.
this inflammation that's going on. So tell me how your body is healing on meat.
Well, the very first week, so my insomnia kicked in, like I said, when I first got the breast implants. And so that was 1997 or 1998 when I got them. And I never slept. And I tried prescription sleeping pills, over the counter. I tried medical marijuana, because Michigan, it was legal. And so I'm sure they probably remember the little 60-year-old at their counter while I was like 58 or whatever, 55 at the time, but I'm at their counter. I can't sleep. I just want to sleep. I just can't sleep. Do you have something to sleep? And he's like, oh my God. Here, so he gets me gummies. These have stuff in them, like whatever to help you sleep, and this and that. And I'm like, okay. And so I try it, and I'm in there the next day or two or a week later, and I'm like, no. And he's like, what do you mean, no? They work for everyone. I go, nope. What else do you have? So then he actually gives me joints, you know, pot indica, so you'll be in the couch, he said.
Right?
Nope.
Didn't work.
It might knock me out, but then I wake up at like 2, 3 a.m. and it's bong, the head racing, the brain racing. You can't sleep. You're just staring. And so the first week doing carnivore here, I slept all the way through the night after a week. And I woke up and I said to my husband, oh, I don't even remember waking up. And he's like, oh, that's good. And I go, no, you don't understand. I was out cold. I actually dreamed. And he's like, you did? And I'm like, I slept like a baby. And then the next night I slept, and the next night, and I've been sleeping. And I haven't had any trouble, except last night I had trouble sleeping. But usually every night I'm falling asleep and I'm staying asleep. And if I do wake up, I just roll over and I'm back out cold again. And that is only from the carnivore. So the only thing I can think of, again, is my Hashimoto's is not happy with me. And perhaps Cushing's or whatever, like you said, undiagnosed, because the Hashimoto's was never diagnosed until I was 55, I don't think. And, or maybe like early 50s. And, so I don't know. I assume it was something I was eating, plus the alcohol and stuff didn't help. And then we move here.
Reducing inflammation, you know, inflammation and insomnia kind of go together. So you know, removing it could be part of it.
And I will say my skin looks so much better. My skin and
oh, you look beautiful. You look absolutely beautiful. No, I mean, I would not guess your age at all. So you look phenomenal.
It's funny because I was watching facelifts today on.
No. I mean,
so why did you get breast implants? Because of vanity, and I was watching facelifts today.
No. Be done with plastic surgery. We don't need that. Yeah. So on the carnivore diet, you know, a lot of people associate it with high protein, but, you know, a big component of it is the high fat. So, you know, having the animal fat. And I know that you said that you also are supplementing with beef tallow, that you're taking the beef tallow capsules and then also cooking in the beef tallow. Yes. So a lot of people don't, you know, they just think, oh, protein. But a big component of it, actually, I try to hit the 80%. So 80% fat to the 20% protein ratio, because that fat is really important also for helping with sleep. So maybe the high fat also is playing a role with it.
And so on to the high fat. So then I went to bacon, and I get the bacon uncured, you know, and it's
no nitrates.
It's so good. and I was cooking that every morning. Well, my weight totally stalled, and I'm eating all this bacon. Like I'm eating like the pack, like this big of a pack, fills up one cookie tray, and I'll just eat the whole thing. And my weight totally stalled. And so just the other day, and every morning when I wake up, I do this with my fingers to see like, is something causing, and so now I'm waiting to see if they are like this in the morning, because I haven't done the bacon in 2 days, but guess what? This morning I'm another pound down after cutting out the bacon. So I don't know if maybe pork is another inflammatory food for me, which gosh dang, I love that bacon.
Yeah.
But
you know, it's interesting because you're saying, you know, I'm eating this and then I'm waiting and I'm seeing and I'm testing my body, like I'm testing my fingers, and not everybody does this. And it sounds like you are just so in tune with your body. And I wonder, you know, those of us who have gone through what you and I have gone through, breast implant illness, or you know, we go through this and now we trust our intuition, or we trust our instincts, or we listen more to our body and to the signs and symptoms rather than running to the doctor every time that we experience something. So I just love hearing that you're saying, well, I'm eating this and then I'm waiting to see how this is affecting my body. And if it's not something good, I'm removing it.
Yep.
And then maybe bringing it back later or not, but you are listening to the cues of your body.
Yep. And I watch, like, these are my areas of, but that's where I balloon. That's where, when I get inflamed, my arms, I blow up like a Macy's Day Parade balloon. And then in my back, like
in the back.
And then up. And then at the top of my hips, I got like little, I call them my little camel reservoirs. And those were all going down, like everything was slimming down. And then I started the bacon. And I think it must be inflammatory to me, because other people have great success eating the high fat bacon. But I think it must be on my list of inflammatory, because those started ballooning up again with the bacon. And I started getting some light headaches, which I never get headaches, which I started thinking it's got to be inflammation. Again, the headaches. So, because I never get headaches. But
yeah, wow.
And so every morning I have a copper tongue scraper, and I would, and I'd scrape the off your tongue every morning, and there was always like white film to scrape, and now there is nothing on my tongue. My teeth feel like I just had them cleaned that day. I walk around, like, your teeth after like being at work or whatever all day, and you're like, oh, I need to brush my teeth. They feel like you just had a teeth cleaning all the time.
It's no sugar, so it definitely impacts it. I posted a couple weeks ago on Facebook a picture of my tongue when I was on the vegan, following like a vegan diet, and it was all white.
Yes.
And then I posted a picture of my tongue now, and it shows, a tongue that's pink. And so that, the picture got a lot of views, a lot of comments and so forth, but it really is startling. And I'm just one of those people that takes weird pictures. If somebody ever found my phone, they would be like, what is wrong with this psychopath? Because I'll take pictures of things like that, because our tongue definitely tells us a lot about our health, but so does our poop. So yeah,
I poop.
Yeah, you don't poop as much on the carnivore lifestyle, do you?
I'm looking at my cat who's curled up right here. So I then changed them. I was feeding them like even fresh pet or whatever it's called. But then I look at the ingredient and it's loaded with all kinds of vegetables. And I'm like, when do cats ever eat carrots and stuff? So it's loaded with carbs. And though, it doesn't have any green in it, but if you look, it's got all kinds of stuff that are high in oxalates. And so I thought, well, if I'm eating carnivore, I'm just going to feed them what I'm eating. So I just don't salt theirs. And so like I cooked them chicken in the oven, like 5 chicken thighs today. And then I grind it up in the food processor, and I give them like their ground up chicken. They get some raw hamburger, only if it's been frozen first. And then I give them cooked hamburger. They get like if I'm eating, I'll just cut off parts of my steaks and stuff and give it to them. And there is way less poop in the cat boxes.
That's interesting.
Way less poop.
Okay. So you have carnivore cats.
Yes.
Everybody's gone carnivore.
Yes.
Over there.
I'm telling you, I think they're happier.
We have Kimberly just commented. She said, "You ladies look so young for your age." She's absolutely jealous. Well, maybe we are testaments for the carnivore lifestyle. So
Well,
I
maybe.
do notice also differences in my skin. So you mentioned skin, and also my hair. And my hair lady even said like that. It used to be so dry. It's so dry out here in Colorado. But with being on the carnivore diet, I've noticed that I don't have to wash my hair as much. Like I used to have to wash my hair every other day, and now I can practically go a whole week and not wash my hair. It's just it just has a completely different texture, and I think it might be the high fat and high protein.
Yeah, no, mine is still dry, but mine has been dry my whole life. Like I could go a whole month and not wash my hair and you wouldn't know it. Like there is no oil and I have to put like castor oil. I put castor oil on my face, and then my friend makes a vanilla tallow, vanilla rosemary tallow for me, and she sells it. And that, oh my gosh, that's divine. And so I've been putting that on my face lately too, but I'm super dry. So I can't say that my hair has changed at all, because it almost seems drier down here in Florida with the humidity, and I don't get it. So, but
yeah, I've even seen guys say that their bald spots
yes,
filled in. I've seen that on some of the carnivore sites, or that people's gray hair started, getting pigmented, and
I
likely it's
think
due to
I'm
the
not as gray.
B12. You're not as gray?
I don't think I am as gray. It doesn't seem to be coming in as fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I color it to the natural blonde that I'm not. But yeah, it's pretty gray all up in the front here, but it doesn't seem like it's as gray anymore.
Well,
Like,
you look fat. You look absolutely fabulous. Let's talk a little, because you said you had a sleepless night last night. I know I had a sleepless night last night, and I've had some insomnia. It's kind of been something that I have not been literally able to put to rest. So that's one of the, I got rid of all my digestive issues, thankfully, with carnivore. But the one thing that's still kind of, hanging on, and it could be just a menopause thing as well, but it is this, waking, not being able to fall asleep and not being able to stay asleep. And I know that many people suffer from insomnia, and instead of reaching for a joint or a gummy or Ambien, there are some natural things that we can do. What are some rituals that you do to try to set yourself up for a restful night's sleep?
so in my nightstand, I probably have 4 different brands of magnesium, like a magnesium 7, like 7 different magnesiums in one. One of them has 5. One of them's a magnesium complex, or yeah. And so I just rotate each bottle each night so that I'm getting, because you can't get just one in one bottle for some reason. They all have to bring something different to the table. And so I just alternate them each night. So I take it right when I get, like I take my water, and I go and I take the magnesium, and then I take my progesterone that is prescribed from the doctor. And I take that. And then I've been falling asleep like magic, but I've been doing that for years, the magnesium and the progesterone, and it didn't work. So yeah, it's got to be just the meat. It had to be the pork or something causing, like you said, maybe adrenal issues, which is flared back.
The pig doesn't have the 4 chambers of the stomach. So whatever the pig's eating, maybe you're eating it too. So Dr. Anthony Chafee talks about, he just eats beef, like he's all about beef. And so he says that, the ruminants, sticking to them is kind of the best, especially if you have inflammation, autoimmune type issues, that sticking to beef is kind of the safe place to go. He says he rarely ever eats chicken, rarely eats pork, doesn't, he just sticks to beef, or also lamb.
I'm not a big lamb fan. Yeah. I mean, unless it's at the Middle Eastern restaurants and it's all then they know how to cook it. But just for me to cook it at home,
yeah. Well, some things that I've been trying, and these are things that, if you have insomnia, you're listening right now, this is something that you might want to try as well. One is I take this out of my room. So this is my cell phone
Oh,
right here. So I don't charge it in my room. I turn off the Wi-Fi. I also turn off the Bluetooth,
yep. I put
and
mine
I
on
shut the
airplane
phone.
mode.
Yeah, airplane mode. I've heard even airplane mode is kind of faulty now, that they still have ways to run things through. So I just shut it off completely, and then I also charge it in another room. Um, I I make sure all lights, like I have the old school alarm clock that has like the red digital letters. So I make sure that that's kind of covered, so I'm not looking at the clock, or I don't have that light. I'm hot all the time, just going through menopause. If you can, if you're out there and you can relate, but I have a fan. So having also some white noise, or having a fan, making sure that the temperature is super cold, whether it's opening a window, and having just some white noise in the background so that any noises aren't disturbing you. These are just some things that I have been trying. Also, reducing screen time right before bed.
Yeah.
I bought some blue blocker,
Yes, me
the
too.
glasses. So, usually around 8 o'clock and on, I try to put those on so that when I'm looking at a screen, I'm not getting that blue light into my eyes, because that really messes with the circadian rhythm. So, I'm trying to be kind of religious about that, and putting that on, and also getting to bed a little earlier. So
Yep.
especially with it now going into winter, we had our first snow today. But getting now into these colder months, and it's darker earlier, we kind of need to listen to the same circadian rhythm that nature has provided for us. So we kind of have to be in the flow. And so it's dark here. It starts getting dark at 4:30, 5 o'clock. So kind of go with that. If it's getting darker, just go to bed earlier, wake up earlier with the sun, and then also getting sunlight every day. So I don't know if it's something that
Yes.
you practice, but I'm a huge sun worshiper, really believe in the power of the sun. So getting out, getting a half hour a day
Yep.
without sunglasses,
Yep.
preferably in the earlier part of the day, getting that sunlight into your eyes just really helps to kind of balance hormones and help you to kind of get into that circadian rhythm so that you can sleep well at night, and exercise.
Yeah.
So, moving, getting out in nature, or, hitting the gym, not too late at night, but earlier in the day, so that, you are exhausted at the end of the day and can go to sleep. But it's kind of hard sometimes to shut the brain off.
Do you
That's what
have a
I
hard
found.
time absorbing vitamin D? I have a hard, my vitamin D was always low, which they said it was low, but it was 38 and they wanted it higher. So they put me on like 5,000 IUs or whatever a week, and it still didn't budge. In fact, it dropped. And that's when back when I had the implants in, and I would always put sunscreen on because we were on a lake, head to toe in toxic sunscreen,
Yes,
and
toxic sunscreen.
blocking the sun.
Mhm.
And then so after I got the implants out, I thought, I'm not taking this vitamin D because I keep reading how you're not, it's dumb, it's all synthetic, most of it, and so I just dropped the sunscreen and I sat in the sun on our boat. And my husband's like, you're not, because I would always be like, I feel like I'm frying, like a piece of bacon frying, and I'm so fair skinned, and I'm like, I'm frying. And I'm sitting there and he's like, are you burning? And I go, I don't think so. And I lasted the whole summer. They tested my vitamin D with no supplements, and it had gone up to 44.
44 actually is, I mean, I don't know where your starting point is, but you want your vitamin
It had
D to be
dropped from
double that.
30, it had dropped from 38 to 34 with supplements. They were trying to raise it and it dropped to 34. And so I dropped the supplements and the sunscreen and went in the sun, and it went up to 44 on its own. So I don't know where it's at now
I,
because we're in
I
Florida.
personally, I want to see, like, I want my vitamin D to be above 70,
Yeah.
especially going into winter. I want it to be like, 70 to 90, or like within there. Were you taking vitamin D3 with K2?
Yes, I tried that too. Yep.
Because that's a very important component, because that is actually driving calcium into your bones and teeth and not into your soft tissue. And then also taking that magnesium. So making sure to get high magnesium. Boron is a great supplement as well to help with the absorption of vitamin D. Interestingly, you're talking about being out in the sun. When you are carnivore, something that people have reported, when you stop eating seed oils and you're eating more animal fats, you don't burn.
Okay, because I haven't been burning.
There you go.
I know.
Yeah.
And we were shocked. I'm like, I'm not burning. And one time I did burn, and it wasn't even that bad. Like I'm like, I cannot believe this doesn't even hurt.
Yeah, it's miraculous that when you're, again, on the proper human diet, your body, it works in a more optimized fashion. So the things that we take for, we think, oh, well, this is normal. No, it's not normal to be in the sun for 15 minutes and to burn. That's likely due to the foods that we are consuming. So,
Right.
And it's also not, it's not optimal, or it's not normal to be farting 100 times an hour, as those many on the vegan diet, or if you're consuming lots of vegetables.
It was awful.
Then
that's all gone.
Yes.
You hardly poop. You don't have any body odor, like your armpits and stuff, because you're not having any spices, no nothing. We did make homemade beef jerky, and we followed a recipe which had soy and Worcestershire and garlic and stuff, and I ate it. And oh my gosh, I mean,
it was all coming out of you.
My pores. And then my husband kept eating it. I said, I can't eat it. I'm not supposed to have any soy and stuff. And so I stopped, and he walked up, and I'm like, I can smell you. You smell like beef jerky. It's oozing out of your pores. I mean, you don't realize, like, the food causes all the, oof.
Yeah.
And so that's,
exactly.
I just feel so clean now.
Yeah.
And I'm never hungry. Like, even when I think, oh, you know what, I better eat, your blood sugar's not plummeting. You're not just like, oh my gosh, because it used to be, oh my gosh, I'm so hangry, hungry and angry now. I waited too long to eat. Oh my gosh, I'm really, you're going to have to cook it because I'm about ready to pass out. Well, that never happens anymore.
No,
my sugar
it doesn't. We're just steady.
Yes.
Steady all day, right?
And you can cook your little steak or whatever you're having, or hamburger, whatever, and you're fine. And you just don't have the roller coaster with your sugar levels. And there's diabetes in my family, and that, and kidney issues on my mom and my dad. And I used to pee a lot, and I couldn't stay hydrated. I drank so much water, and I was always dehydrated. And my mother lived in our basement, and she could hear every time I was flushing the toilet. And she says, how many times a day are you peeing? That's a sign of diabetes. And I go, I pee a lot. And when I pee, I'm peeing a lot. And now that's not happening.
Yep. That's also oxalates. So oxalates in vegetables can cause that. So somebody asked, so no chicken? No, I eat chicken, but Tracy says she can't really tolerate it, but some carnivores definitely do eat chicken. Yeah. We just eat all animal-based products. I don't eat a lot of chicken. I would much rather eat beef, and I feel better. I definitely feel better. I feel fuller and more satisfied when I eat beef. I just notice I'm overall much better. But I eat chicken maybe 2 times a week. The rest of my meals, everything is, and I eat lots of eggs in the morning. Yeah. So I'm eating about 3-4 eggs a day. And then I do eat dairy. So thankfully I can.
I know. My dad's like, well, it's leaving you not with a lot to eat. And I go, you know what, Dad, things could be worse. There's worse things than having to eat fillets every day, or, it could be worse. But so, poor me having to eat ribeyes every day. But yeah, we did a food sensitivity.
Right. And it came back. Poor you eating steak every day.
For both of us, for my husband and me, it came back off the charts for eggs and chicken. And I said,
Mhm.
they must have gotten these mixed up. And then I opened mine and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're both off the charts for eggs and chicken. Well, then of course we ignored it. And then we were eating eggs and chicken. And I'm like, I don't feel well every time I have the chicken. And then my weight would stall. And every time I have eggs, I feel okay if I have scrambled eggs or an omelet, but I can't eat hard boiled eggs. I get very nauseated and again, my weight stalls. So
Yeah.
I know it's causing inflammation, and which is what it said. It's a food sensitivity. And I just think pork is probably one of them too for me, which gosh dang, that uncured bacon is so good. And but if my fingers go away, that's the only thing I've eliminated this week is the bacon. And so we'll see if tomorrow morning I wake up to being able to bend my fingers with no.
Yeah, and you could still, like, 90 days from now, just try bringing
Right
it back
again.
and just see if you've done enough gut healing. So it's being asked in the comments, what tests are you recommending as far as food sensitivity tests did you get?
I can't remember the company, but it was online. I probably saw a Facebook ad or something, or maybe I saw it on one of the Facebooks or the breast implant support pages. So
Mhm.
I don't know what it was. I can't remember. It was like 6 or 7 years ago. So
Okay.
I don't even remember. But they're out there everywhere. But it was a
Yeah.
food sensitivity, and it was either our saliva or you poked your finger. I can't remember. I don't remember because I don't remember now if it was saliva or the finger poking. But it was pretty eye opening. And then now it seems like it is accurate because my weight stalls, and then when I drop the bacon, all of a sudden I'm a pound lighter again today. And everybody else eats bacon and they drop weight.
Well, and here's the thing about the carnivore lifestyle is I just want to stress, I know we're talking about weight or weight loss, but that's not what carnivore is about. It's not a weight loss diet at all. It is
Healthy.
it's about healing.
Yep.
So if you have a lot of health issues and you've kind of tried everything and you just seem to be reacting to everything, or you have diabetes type 2, you have autoimmune type conditions, lots of inflammation going on in the body, it is really worth your time to give it a try, do the 30-day challenge. And, we talked about Dr. Jordan Peterson. I watched the Dr. Jordan Peterson podcast, and that is exactly why I chose to try the carnivore lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it was, it started off with, I'm going to try this for 30 days. And within 2 weeks, all my gut issues that I'd had chronically for years and years during the breast implants, even after the breast implants, I could not get rid of these gut issues, and within 2 weeks, completely gone.
Right.
So I went from farting 100, and I say this all the time. I went from farting 100 times an hour to farting once a week. And I'll take, like, to me, farting
I don't
once
even
a
think
week,
I
I'm
fart
good with
once
that.
a week.
Yeah, see, exactly. We don't fart. Carnivores don't
No.
fart.
And like when you'd go for your annual gynecologist, and they would always push like on your stomach. They would just push, and I'd go, ow. I mean,
Yeah, you'd be in pain.
sore. And they would just ignore me, and I'm like, excuse me, but what are you pushing for? And well, we're just feeling if there's any masses. I go, but I'm telling you, it hurts when you do that, and you guys always just ignore me. Well, then they diagnosed me with IBS. So now, like I in the morning, I'll wake up like after the pork and stuff, and if my hands are stiff, then I push on my stomach, and if it's sore, then I know I'm inflamed. Something's causing inflammation.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, keep listening to your body, Tracy. I think you're doing your body good. And I really appreciate you being here for this discussion. We've had some comments through the feed just saying what a wonderful discussion that this was. And we brought to light breast implant illness. If people want to reach out to you just to get more information about breast implant illness, and again, like, anyone can reach out to me, find me on Facebook. How can people best find you?
I have a website, tracygary.com. And then my Facebook page, you can come to my Facebook page. You can join my Facebook support group, which is Michigan. That's what my Facebook page looks like.
Cool. So you got like a pink, is that like a pinkish jacket on and a t-shirt? What does that t-shirt say?
Flat is the new black.
All right. Awesome. I love it.
Flat is the new black. And then there's links on there too. But you can go to my tracygary.com website and all the links are on there. And then I also have a YouTube page, Tracy_Gary, and all kinds of videos talking with women about their breast implants. And there's pictures of my en-bloc surgery. So if you're faint at heart, they lift up my entire breast cavity and show inside once they removed the surgeon, and he shows the big implant with the capsule wrapped around it, videos of that from Costa Rica. So there's all kinds of videos on there for information. And our support page. And our support page, we don't allow men on, but I always lead them to another page that's wide open for men and women that other women are running, and it's loaded with information. So there's so many resources out there. Do you know, when I was coming back from Costa Rica, I got stuck at Dallas, Fort Worth by the TSA. I got caught because my compression bra had metal.
Yeah.
And so they're like, two women take me into the room and they're like, we have to just make sure, can you show us? And I lift it and it's all stained with blood because I had a lift, which they go around your nipple and down and around.
Yeah.
And I was fresh out of surgery and I'm like, can I just take the compression bra off for a second? They're like, no, we don't need to see anymore. I go, no, please, just let me take it off for 30 seconds. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Oh, because it was so tight. And they're like, what kind of surgery did you have? So I told them, and one of them, their daughter was sick and they couldn't figure out why. And she had breast implants. And I said, see, I think God got me stuck in your little metal detector for a reason.
Yes, I totally believe in that.
And I hand them to people all the time. And I say, you know, if they're not, you got a beautiful rack on you. If they're real, God bless you. But if they're not, here's some information you might want to look into.
Yeah, I meet people all the time, and I'm always trying to find educational opportunities just to inform women, because I know how challenging it was going from doctor to doctor with all those symptoms and not finding answers.
Right.
So it was another woman who woke you up. It was the website, just, somebody, helping me to connect the dots. So, we're kind of like angels out there.
Well, that's funny because my mom named Annette, my angel Annette.
There you go.
Yeah. There's Annette who saved my life. So she called
flat angels out there that are changing the world, one woman at a time. Tracy, Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I'll have to have you back on. Just
I love it.
Like what's Tracy doing now? How's she doing in Carnivore? Is she still sleeping well?
Well, let's plan on it, and then we'll see if you're sleeping finally.
Yeah. Amen to that. All right. Thanks so much, Tracy. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Bye. Thanks.